Welcome to the last lecture where we look at writing the marketing planning report for strategic marketing management, MKT 340. Nice comment here from Shaw, Brown and Bromley, how 3M is rewriting business planning from a few. If the language we use in writing strategic planning were only a matter of presentation, of the way we package ideas and offer them to others, it would not matter how much we wrote them, but writing is thinking. So the presentation and how it's done is really an important part of the marketing planning process. So now we're really putting all this together now into one document or presentation. And these days, like in this course, the final report is often a presentation, but the concepts which I'm going to discuss today still hold. It's the focus of this lecture. Final lecture, guidelines for writing strategic marketing documents report. Specifically, presenting a plan or report, what are some of the ways you can do it? We'll have a look. There's two basic ways you can do it. Different types of strategic marketing plans and reports, the process involved in crafting a marketing strategies, and the pitfalls to be avoided. Now, often this process is a process of convincing someone, convincing top management and convincing employees to follow you. So it's really important that this is written well, clearly, and in an understandable format. So two ways. The first part is the formal planning process, which is a part of a section of broader-based business planning document. And here you get a standalone marketing planning document. Then you've got also informal planning processes, such as a paper or report on strategic marketing recommendations. And these also can form part of the planning process. So it's not only just one report that's done every 1 or 2 years. There's often an informal process that occurs all the time. Now, the most important thing is to tailor the communication format to suit the intended audience. So, for example, if I was to develop a marketing plan where I work, my communication format would be entirely different for upper management, the board, as opposed to employees or people I work with. So the degree of acceptance or opposition to the material to be presented is an important part of it as well. Remembering that most people on boards and CEOs of companies don't come from a marketing background. Defining the purpose of the communication is the next step. Is it just to provide information or to persuade, or is it a combination of both? Particularly when we looked at radical marketing innovations or strategies in lecture 10, clearly persuasion here would be really important. If you're just providing information on an accepted plan, that might be different, or you may want to do a combination of both. So that really needs to be clear in your head before you start doing your marketing plan, start writing it. The next step is then to decide on the appropriate format. And there's two approaches. The first is the build approach. The reader is led through a sequence of information culminating in strategic recommendation, a bit like how this subject has been organised. Another one is the bottom line approach, where the strategic recommendations are stated at the beginning of the report. This kind of approach might be more suitable for a board or suitable as a persuasion approach where when information is provided where the acceptance is already there. So the build approach is generally used for formal business planning, such as a strategic marketing plan, and entails the reader going through all the steps and leading up to recommendations that are being presented. And the objective here is to establish a shared understanding of the challenges faced and to get the audience outside and aware of the thinking underpinning the strategic recommendations. So this is a kind of approach, as I've said earlier, would be used if you're trying to persuade people. The bottom line approach is when the reader is already well acquainted with the situation facing the organisation. And here is to gain the attention and interest of the reader at the beginning of the paper or report. So quite a different approach. This would be done more for board level. Some other approaches, well, organisation-wide decision-maker involvement is clearly important, getting input from all parties. The Chief Marketing Officer, though, should take overall responsibility. Workshop activities to provide essential information to focus on 2 to 3 issues. Why? Because in a job, you've got a lot of things on there, and really in your plan you should be able to tell somebody what are the 2 or 3 things that need to be focused, that you need to focus on. External consultants as facilitators of these groups are often quite valuable, mainly because they don't sit there as having a vested interest or being part of the management hierarchy. You need to allocate sufficient time for the planning process and the revision of the planning process, and make sure that the presentation to senior management is extremely well prepared. Another important aspect. I guess this is why we focus on presentations at the end of this subject. That's it for now. Obviously, there's a lot more on topics and information. I hope you've enjoyed this subject, and it's been great teaching you. Bye for now.